Attention passionate Detroit, Lions fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the NFC North and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Detroit Lions' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Detroit Lions fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your FRINDS and Detroit Lions fans. Let's get to the news. Now guys, you know as well as I do that the Detroit Lions are one of the most exciting teams in the NFL right now. The energy around Detroit is just contagious, especially after their impressive performances over the past few seasons. But today, there's a story that's just starting to surface. And honestly, it could have some serious implications, not just for the Lions, but for the entire NFC North and beyond. We're talking about a potential trade involving none other than Alex Anzalone, a player who's been a key part of Detroit's linebacker core, heading over to the Arizona Cardinals. Yeah, it sounds like a big shakeup, and I know you want to hear all the details, so let's dive right into it. So this all started when NFL analyst Matt Levine brought up the idea that the Lions might be looking to trade Anzalone. Now, why would they do that? Well, it turns out that Anzalone is seeking an extension from Detroit, a new contract, something to lock him in for the future. But the Lions, as we know, have been pretty cautious when it comes to re-signings, especially with their linebacker unit. They've already adjusted his contract slightly, making things a bit better for him. But the truth is, Anzalone is set to hit free agency in 2026. That timeline is critical because it means Detroit might prefer to recoup some draft capital rather than invest heavily in a player they might lose in just a year or two. Meanwhile, the Arizona Cardinals are in a different position. They're in a bit of a rebuild, folks, and they're hungry to turn things around. The team has been struggling to find their footing for a while now. It's been since 2021 that they've won at least 9 games. That's a long drought in the NFL, and with Kyler Murray needing a monster year to truly re-establish himself as the franchise quarterback, the Cardinals are looking for any edge they can get. Adding a talented linebacker like Anzalone could be just what they need to bolster their defense, which, let's be honest, has been a weak spot. Now, let's talk about what makes this trade scenario interesting for both sides. For the Lions, it seems like they're not super interested in bringing Anzalone back. Maybe they see him as a player who's best suited for a different team, or perhaps they're just looking to free up some cap space and draft capital. Detroit has a pretty solid linebacker core, after all. According to ESPN's Mike Clay, the Lions rank 5th in the league for linebacker units, which is pretty impressive. The Cardinals, on the other hand, are ranked 29th, definitely not where they want to be. So, acquiring Anzalone, who's on a relatively cheap one-year deal, could be a quick fix to bolster their defense. And here's the kicker, if the Cardinals like what they see out of Anzalone, they could potentially sign him for a few more years. This isn't just a rental. It could be a strategic move for them to build a stronger team for the future. Anzalone, at 30 years old, still has a lot to offer, especially with his experience and leadership on the field. Plus, his recent stats show he's still got it. In 2022, he had a breakout season with 125 tackles, 7 quarterback hits, and 7 tackles for loss. More recently, he played just 10 games before suffering an injury, but in that span, he still managed 63 tackles, 5 quarterback hits, and 7 tackles for loss. That's solid production, and it shows he can be a difference maker when healthy. Now, let's get into whether this makes sense for both teams. For Detroit, it's pretty straightforward. They're in a position where they might want to move on from Anzalone, especially if they believe they have other players ready to step up, or if they're looking to draft a linebacker in the upcoming draft. Recouping draft capital makes sense for them at this point. Plus, they have a pretty deep linebacker room, so losing Anzalone wouldn't cripple their defense. On the flip side, for the Cardinals, they're desperate to improve on defense, and linebacker has been a glaring weak spot. Adding Anzalone would give them a much-needed boost in 2025, helping them try to turn around their fortunes. And let's not forget the impact this could have on the division. The NFC North has been fiercely competitive, with the Lions emerging as a real contender in recent years. They've built a solid roster, and this move, if it happens, could help them even more. But it's not just about the Lions. The Cardinals are also trying to rebuild their identity, and bolstering their defense with a player like Anzalone could be a step in that direction. It's all about strategic moves, and this trade scenario, while still hypothetical, makes a lot of sense when you look at the current team needs and future potential. Now, I want to take a moment here to emphasize the importance of context. This isn't just some rumor floating around. It's a well-thought-out idea brought up by analysts like Levine, and it's rooted in the current state of both teams. The Lions, with their strong linebacker unit, don't seem to see Anzalone as a future piece they want to prioritize. Meanwhile, the Cardinals, who are looking for immediate upgrades, might see this as a golden opportunity to add a player who can contribute right away. And remember, Anzalone's value isn't just about his stats, but also his leadership and football IQ, which could be the difference maker for the Cardinals' defense. So, what's next? Well, it's all about the negotiations and how both teams weigh their options. If the trade does happen, it could set a new tone for how both teams approach their roster building. For Detroit, it's about maximizing their assets and focusing on their long-term plans. For Arizona, it's about short-term gains and building a team capable of competing sooner rather than later. This move could also influence how other teams view their linebacker core and what kind of value they place on veteran players like Anzalone. And of course, as fans, we love these kinds of rumors and strategic moves because they add another layer of excitement to the NFL offseason. It's a chess game, guys, and every move counts. The Lions have a lot to gain from this potential trade, whether it's draft picks, cap space, or simply clearing a roster spot for new talent. The Cardinals, meanwhile, get a proven player who can help them stabilize their defense and maybe even set the stage for a postseason push in 2025. Now, I want to also highlight that while this is a very intriguing idea, it's still just a scenario at this point. Nothing is official, and we have to wait and see how negotiations unfold. But it's fun to speculate, especially when it involves two teams that are very much in flux and looking to make bold moves. The NFL is all about those unpredictable twists and turns, and a trade like this could be one of those game changers that fans talk about all season long. As we wrap up, I want to remind you all that the Detroit Lions are on the cusp of something special. They've built a team that's competitive, hungry, and ready to make a real run this year. Moves like this potential trade show that they're not afraid to shake things up if it means getting better. The defense, especially the linebacker position, could see some changes, but that's part of football, constantly evolving, always looking for that edge. And now, Detroit Lions fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this? Do you think trading Anzalone makes sense for Detroit? Would you like to see him stay and continue his journey with the Lions, or do you agree that recouping draft capital is the smarter move? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the team. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, so stay tuned for all the latest Detroit Lions news, rumors, and analysis. This is your go-to channel for everything Lions, and we're just getting started. Thanks for watching, and as always, let's keep that Lions spirit alive and roaring.